discrimination, violence, including marginalization and a lack of adequate health services, something which Amnesty International is hoping to change. Last week, the humanitarian organization approved a controversial policy to endorse the decriminalization of the sex trade. But the decision has been met with different views, with most feminist and women's rights groups saying the policy will give legitimacy to pimps and brothel owners and allow the sex industry to thrive. Now, from our studios in Cape Town, we are joined by Soraya Mentor, who is the Advocacy and Campaigns Coordinator from Embrace Dignity. A very good morning to you, Soraya. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Amnesty International approved a controversial policy to endorse the decriminalization of the sex trade totally. What is your take on that?
Embrace Dignity is an organization that was started during the World Cup. And initially it was just a lobby group wanting to lobby and advocate for law reform. There was a very big ask from prostitutes wanting to exit, and the organization started to deliver services to these women. And we believe, and based on our research and our experience working with these women over the last few years, is that by Amnesty International saying that they're calling for total decriminalization is really supporting and expanding a very exploitative and harmful industry.
Exploitative and harmful. And you say that it will allow the industry to thrive. But surely it is an industry, and we can't put our heads in the sand and make as if it's not a very big part of the way we live today.
Sure. And as an organization, we do believe that women have a choice. However, in the context of South Africa, what does that choice mean? We are saying that women are coerced into prostitution, they are prostituted, they are trafficked, they are exposed to the most horrific kind of violations. And by doing this and by calling for the complete decriminalization is really going to give legitimacy to this. It's really going to give expanding this industry and giving pimps and brothel owners free will to just do what they want.
But surely, Soraya, when an industry is regulated and you have to comply with the laws that govern it, the protection is then there for those that work within that industry, and you can then look after the people that work in there. And I don't believe that all people that work in the industry do so against their will.
Of course, but in a country like South Africa, and we are a developing country, and we have the most progressive laws and we have the most progressive constitution, but in a country where the vast majority of the population are living in poverty, there's inequality, there's patriarchy, in a system like that, what does it mean? What does human rights and dignity mean when I wanting to go and access services at a local clinic and I'm a prostitute? Or I am a poor woman, what does it mean? It doesn't mean that the law says I have access to it, that people who's not conscientized to deal with me to come, and so I will be judged.
Surely, Soraya, when you talk about rights, it is anyone's right to then decide they want to pursue this as a career. That right in our Constitution has to be protected as well.
Sure, so I also have the right to a free education. I also have the right to basic services. But a woman growing up in Kailicha or any rural village who doesn't have a choice but to go into this,
Can I ask you this?
We are saying it is exploitative.
There is an element of it that is exploitative, as is every single industry that we see in the Western world today. What do you say? How do we, if you don't want it to be regulated and legalized, how are we going to protect those people working in the industry now? And this industry is never going to go away. It's the oldest profession. How are we going to protect the vulnerable? What is your plan to protect the vulnerable and at risk right now?
So our research have shown that women who are in this industry are not there because they want to be there. Every single woman who we've come across and has called out for help are saying that it's an industry that they don't like doing this. They would want to exit from this. And it is for us as Embrace Dignity and for government and for laws to be implemented to ensure that there's proper services for these women to exit. And we are talking about fulfilling women's practical needs, gender needs, and also fulfilling strategic gender needs. So it is about why are women there in the first place? And some women might be there because they don't have fees for their kids. Their grandmother might be ill and they might be buying medication. So it's those kind of practical needs. But they are there because of the economic circumstances. They are there because sometimes they are coerced to be there. And so we have to look at systems. And we are saying women are doing this because of the economic system and because of patriarchy that is in favor of men. And so a guy can just decide to buy my body and exploit my body. And we are saying that we are not
if you are okay with that, then surely, and if it's by the law, then it's okay. We are adults that can make these decisions for ourselves. I thank you for joining us, though, Soraya. We've run out of time. It's a conversation that we'll take forward tomorrow. Hopefully, you'll watch tomorrow because we'll speak to Amnesty International and find their views, what they believe will happen if sex work is decriminalized, not just in South Africa, but around the world. Thank you for joining us today and giving us your views. That is Soraya Mentor, who is a coordinator at Embrace.